Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk about some wedding tips. It's Wedding Tip Wednesday, and instead of just giving you one, I'm going to give you 10. So stay tuned. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk about wedding tips, and your wedding is coming up and you're looking at all of this information in front of you and you're overwhelmed and you don't even know where to start. So that is normal. So this is what I tell my couples when you're coming to the bridal show and you're standing in front of me and I ask you, when you don't know what you're doing, I always tell you that you're in the right place. So this channel is the right place. Wedding tips, information, photography-based, business-based, a lot of information when it comes to that. So I want to get right to it. So wedding tip number one, I'm going to repeat from last week. So start with the vision board. Compile images, colors, and themes that resonate both with you, that guide you to your final journey. So colors, if you're in the fall, if you're doing the rustic scheme when it comes to that. If you're doing the spring and you're going to stick with the spring colors. So have a vision board in front of you, someplace on the wall. It can even be on your phone if you need to, just like a Pinterest list, and have those inspirational things in there and keep adding to it as the day goes along. So, number two, create a budget. Budget worksheet, determine the overall budget for your allocated funds and different aspects of your wedding, such as the venue, catering, and attire. So let me just start by saying this. As a wedding photographer, we really can't speak to you until you actually get a wedding date and a wedding venue. Only because different states are different prices when it comes to that, traveling and things like that. How much coverage did you want on your day as a photographer? So for you, sometimes people come in with an X budget and they'd be like, okay, we absolutely can't go over that. And then when you find the venue of your dreams, all of a sudden takes up 3/4 of your budget. And now you're left with $1,000 and you've got this beautiful venue and you're going to be relying on cell phones or an inexperienced photographer, family friend to capture your memories. And I feel like that is one of the biggest mistakes when it comes to doing that. Some people prioritize photos. They'll spend the most on photos. Sometimes they prioritize food. Sometimes they prioritize a DJ. And now all of that stuff is good. It just depends on what you want to have your day. If you want people to have a good time and be on the dance floor, bang, that's what you're going to focus on the most. If you're like, I want the cuisine and the elegance of a beautiful venue and beautiful food, that's okay. That's what you're going to get. So just be aware of that when it comes to that. And all I can say to you is just remember when it comes to your, let me just check that. I am not recording. So, hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am live right now too, so that was a little weird. It just did 15 minutes of no audio being recorded. So we're gonna start over again. Wedding tip number one. Thank you guys for coming back to the channel. Wedding tip number one is have a vision board. I said this last week, Wedding Tip Wednesday, I'm gonna give you 10 today. It is very important to have a vision board for your color palette. If you're gonna lean towards the fall colors, have those hues and those colors and the style of the rustic, whatever. If you're in the spring and the summertime, you wanna be closer to those beach tone tans and beach tones and things like that. The spring is a little bit more of the lighter color. So winter is more of the bluish colors. So just have that on a vision board, someplace in your phone, so you can keep adding to as inspiration comes by. All right, number two, create a budget. I was just talking about this the other day, is the budget is probably the hardest thing to deal with because 9 times out of 10, you will go over your budget. And it's just inevitable when it comes to that. It's very frustrating sometimes also, but create a budget. Some people, they have X amount and then all of a sudden they find the venue of their dreams and it takes 3/4 of the money. And you're like, oh my God, I've got a beautiful venue, an elegant castle and beautiful stuff, and you've got nobody to take pictures when it comes to that. So don't rely on cell phones, don't rely on little Kodak, Insta, film cameras and things like that. I can't emphasize enough the importance of having the information in front of you so that you have, I can't emphasize enough the importance of photography. And I'm not just talking about it from my point of view, is If you're in a beautiful castle and you spend $15,000 on this thing and you only got $1,000 for a photographer, you're only going to get an inexperienced photographer when it comes to being able to capture your day. So be very, very aware of that. Find the balance in that. I always tell people, if you're going to do like a Jack and Jill, you can always raise money for other stuff that you want to get. Photography falls into that place. But we really can't even talk to you and give you pricing until we find out what your wedding date is and your venue. So different states have different prices. So budget's probably the most important thing just to kind of keep track of. All right, number 3, research and visit potential wedding venues. Consider factors like location, capacity, ambience, and the cost before making your final decision. When you're doing your venue, some people will just gravitate right to X venue, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't care if I'm driving 45 minutes to get to where I gotta go, they'll compensate for that. So I had a wedding client the other day that was going 5 minutes from their house for the church and then 10 minutes to the venue, and they were considering a separate venue that was gonna add 45 minutes of a drive and 30 minutes of a drive. So I always tell people, try and pay attention to, because those are things that eat up time when it comes to a 6-hour package or an 8-hour package. So just remember that location does mean everything and does make everything. Find what you fall in love with. If you love the barn look, there's lots of ones around in Massachusetts that you can find, and just figure out which one's going to be the best fit financially, budget. Take a look at their vendor list, the professional vendors list that they have, and reach out to them. But the most important thing is just to remember, the feel and the vibe of the day. See weddings that were already photographed there by the venue, so you see what it looks like at night, see what it looks like during the day. That's very important. So, all right. Number 4, begin compiling your guest list. Oh, everybody hates the guest list. How do I invite Aunt Susie, Uncle Bob, and then they want to bring a +1 and +7 and things like that. So just be aware it's something you need to deal with and have to do. So unfortunately, suck it up. Moms and dads have to invite everybody and their brother. So guest list. Start with immediate family and close friends, then expand to other relatives and acquaintances as needed. If you've got a venue that can only compensate capacity-wise 150, and just your immediate friends and family comes up to 125. And then there's all these extra people, co-workers and everything else that want to get invited too. You will exceed that limit. So if you can't do that, you almost need to know your list before your venue, because if you're looking at a list of 350 people, you can't go to a venue that only capacity is 150. So pay attention to that. Number 5, book your wedding venue, lock in your wedding date. Once this major decision is made, other details will start falling into place. Pick things off the list of importance. Wedding date, wedding venue, top. Some people already have their dresses, and that's okay. Wedding venue, wedding date. Because from there, all of your professional vendors will be able to, the first thing we're going to ask you, caterer, DJ, flowers, everything, we're all going to ask you the same thing. That's what we need to know. So prioritize venue and date, then work down your list. If your priority is photography and then DJ, or DJ then photography, that's okay. Caterer, all those different things like that. So start to prioritize. Once you get that photographer, check mark. Once you get that DJ, check mark. Once you get that caterer, check mark. You start to feel better knowing your list has started to be picked off. So number 6, start shopping for the wedding attire. Tuxes, I cannot emphasize enough, they need to be done ahead of time. Look at when you go for the bridal gown and you find the dress, sometimes they have recommendations for tuxedos. Either they can do them or they know somebody that can do them that they refer them to. That is very, very key when it comes to that. So that's helpful. Start the wedding attire. That's number, what do you think we just said? Number 6. Begin looking for your wedding gown, suit. Explore other options for bridesmaids dresses, groomsmen tuxes, and other members in the wedding parties. Mother-in-law dresses, mother of the bride dresses, things like that. All right, pretty self-explanatory. Number 7, research and book your wedding vendors. I feel like this should be closer to the top, but we'll stick to the list. This includes photographers, videographers. I feel like this should be above your dresses. I'm sorry, I feel like it should be above your dresses. The best ones get booked early. I'm already looking at weddings in 2026. So, research your vendors, photographers, videographers, florists, caterers, DJs, and or bands, and other professionals. You'll need to bring the vision to life, which is why we want to know the season of your wedding so we get a vibe for what kind of atmosphere we're going to be working in. All right, number 8, plan your ceremony and reception details. Decide on the flow of events. Let me just back up here real quick. Deciding on the flow. Itineraries. I'm going to put this in this little bonus for you in between 7 and 8. When you get to that DJ, if you do not have a wedding planner or a wedding coordinator, the DJ is the one that runs point. It runs point. You want to find a DJ that is ridiculously anal to the point of finding and staying online and on task with your flow and itinerary. Now, the DJ doesn't start until the cocktail hour. So remember now, the photographer comes into play with keeping everybody on schedule. So find a photographer that is anally on track and on time with making sure everybody, I can't control if the bride is late. So just that, let's just say that. When it comes to the ceremony starting on time, it's the bride and groom that dictate the attendance starting on time, and the wedding starting on time, and the ceremony starting on time. If Aunt Susie and Uncle Bob is running late, we don't wait. If Grandma and Grandpa are on their way, we wait. So we have to find a way to make up some time. If we're running 15, 20 minutes late, we have to find the time. Arrive early, leave early, arrive early, get there on time. All right, number 8. Plan the ceremony details when it comes to the flow of the events and running the itinerary of your day. Very, very important. Number 9, send out save the date cards to your guests all prior to your wedding. This will give them plenty of time to mark their calendars and make necessary travel arrangements. Very, very important. If you get a photographer that includes engagement pictures, which I do, they can use those save the dates for a picture from their engagement session for the save the dates so that they can send them out when they're supposed to. That'll be another video on when they're supposed to go out and your invitations are supposed to go out. So when they go out, they know and your guests know, oh, they're getting married on the 24th. We got to save our vacation to go after the 24th or before the 24th and come back in time for the wedding. It's very, very important. Don't send it out 3 months in advance in the middle of summer and expect all of your guests to drop their cruises and trips and vacations, and nobody's going to stop going to Disney because you're getting married. So just keep that in mind. So that's very important when it comes to that. So that's very important when it comes to that. So pay attention to stuff like that because save the dates out early enough. That's number 9. Guests to travel and stuff like that. Give them a heads up. Number 10, finalize your guest list and set out wedding invitations, including RSVPs and any additional details of that you will need to know. Word of advice. That's number 10. Word of advice. When you put the RSVP by X, and you need to know, the caterer needs to know, and vendor need to know by X, move that up by 1 week. So if they need to know on January 4th, or let's pick a summertime, let's say if they want it October 4th, if their wedding is October 4th, and the deadline for their wedding is 10 days later, so they need to know a head count for chairs, venue, and food, do not set the RSVP date for October 4th. Set that for 7 days prior to that. That way there will always be people that will not get their stuff back on time. And then you got to start reaching out to people, and that's when brides and grooms get frustrated because grooms usually don't help with that. Or the in-laws or the parents or the wedding party has to start reaching out to people. Hey, we need a head count by the 4th. We need a head count by now. So pay attention to that because that's very important. So all 10 tips instead of just 1 for today. Any questions? Leave your comments down below. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. So today we talk about the 10 important details when it comes to the information when it comes to the wedding day itinerary, when it comes to the wedding day. 10 tips to help you get your wedding plans done ahead of time so that you don't fall behind and you don't get overwhelmed. So thank you guys for coming back to the channel. I appreciate that. I'm live streaming at the same time, so you will see this twice. Thank you guys for coming back to the channel. Hit that like button, hit that bell for notifications, and remember to smile more because it sure does hurt less. Peace. All right, recordings are done. These are done. Perfect. All right. We're going to go back over here, and we're going to turn this around over there. 0 watching. Turn the camera around. All right, so we're going to typically do like that. All right. All right. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today is wedding day wedding day Wednesday. Wedding tip Wednesday is what it is. Wedding tip Wednesday. So today we're going to talk about the actual part of the wedding that nobody wants to talk about is you have to set your date and your venue ahead of time. Set the date, set the venue ahead of time because it's going to be very, very important when it comes to all of the stuff that you've got going on. So set the date, set the venue, call your vendors, get that all set, and remember to smile more because it sure does hurt less. Peace. So, let's turn that around. All right. Bye-bye.